Naghahanap ka ba ng video upang maintindihan ang function at application nito? Huwag kang mag-alala. Welcome to Matnubay Channel. I am Mr. Jobert Servidor, ang inyong tagapagmatnubay. Alright, so let's continue. Let's proceed now to piecewise function. So ano yung piecewise function? So the learning objective or the lesson objective for this topic is at the end of the lesson, the students must be able to define piecewise function and represent real-life situation using piecewise functions. Now, what is piecewise function? A piecewise function is one of which is defined not by single equation but by two or more. Okay? Take note, hindi kagaya yung kaninang example na ginawa natin wherein isang equation lang ang na-create natin out sa ating problem. This time, hindi lang single equation yung gagawin natin, but we have two or more equation. Depende yan siya sa ating condition. Okay? So each equation is valid for some interval. So ito yung representation sa graph natin sa ating piecewise. A piecewise function is a function that has different parts or pieces. Each part of the piecewise function has its own specific job that it performs from the conditions are correct. So basically, itong piecewise function na to is So basically, ang piecewise function is from the word piece, so parang different equations at the same time different condition. Pero isa lang ang gagamitin natin equation. Later on, if you try to evaluate, tingnan lang natin kung saan condition na fall ang ating problem. So that's why we have different conditions at the same time different equation. So like this example, we will use these two as our equation, or we will use these two if yung mga values natin is ma-fall sa x less than or equal to 1, meaning like 0, negative 1, negative 2. So pag ma-fall dito nga condition, we will use this one. Okay, this 2. Now, what if greater than 1? So of course, since hindi na mag-satisfy dyan sa ating first na condition, we will go through with our second condition, which is x greater than 1. So ito naman yung gagamitin natin na equation. That's how to read piecewise function. So titingnan lang natin yung ating condition kung saan ma-fall yung variable, or yung value ng ating variable, whatever equation na katumbas sa condition na yon, yan ang ating gagamitin. Okay? So I would like to remind everyone that since ang 1 dito is less than or equal to 1, it doesn't mean na from 0, negative 1, negative 2, hindi kasali si 1. Okay? Hindi ganon. Since sa ating problem, or sa ating condition, x less than or equal to 1. In other words, 1 dito na side is included. Kasali po si 1. Okay? So if you want to graph it, okay lang din natin siya i-graph. Or how to graph? We will use this condition, itong sa taas, then let's substitute the for the variable, let's substitute the values na ma-fit sa ating condition. Since x less than or equal to 1, so we will use 0, negative 1, negative 2. Ayan. Sir, pag sa graph na to, this one, bakit naka shaded itong dito na side? Dahil if it is closed dot, like na siya shaded, in other words, included ang ating number. Like in this example, 1, that's why included yung 1, kaya may dot siya. Sa dito naman na side, since hindi siya greater than or equal, so that's why hindi included ang ating 1. Kaya wala siyang dot dapat. Sir, how to graph? You can use table of values actually. Diba? That's the only way. Or for us to graph, we will have table of values para ma-plot natin siya using the Cartesian plane. Diba? Tama? Junior high lesson. Okay? So, we will use table of values in graphing. Another example. Let's say we have this example, we have x less than 2, we will use this one. So, lahat daw ng values na less than sa 2, we will use this equation. Pag ang values naman is equal sa 2, we will use this one. Pag ang excuse me, sakit na. Pag halimbawa, pag ang x is greater than 2 but less than or equal 6, we will use this equation. Okay? That's it. So if you try to graph, we have this form or we have this graph. Okay? Sige. Let's proceed. Let's say we have this example. So let's try to observe the difference sa katong kanina. Yeah, although this is function pa rin, this belong to function. Pero meron lang siyang condition or meron lang siyang another equation na i-form natin. Okay? So, hindi lang isang equation ang gagawin natin, but 2 or more. Okay? Example, a jeepney ride cost 8 pesos for first 4 kilometers. Okay? Halimbawa, for first 4 kilometers, 8 pesos. This is the usual way of paying sa jeep. Tama? If mag-ride tayo ng jeepney, 8 pesos. Before yun siya, before lockdown or before the emergency, health emergency, before health emergency. Okay, and each additional integer is 1.5 to the fare. Okay? So actually, we can directly create the general formula. Tama? Pag isang ano lang. Pero we will make, if magawa tayo ng mga conditions para for us hindi tayo ma-confuse kung magkano yung need kong i-pay para pag ganito yung ma-travel ko. So, para meron tayong basis or mean timeline. Okay? So, that's the purpose. We have 3 steps in making or in creating rule for piecewise. Step number 1, create a piecewise function notation and input all the values of y. So, ano yung mga values of y natin na pwede tayong substitute? In this example, we have 8. Diba? We have 8. At the same time, we have plus 1.5 each fare. So, kung mapapansin natin, we have 8 here as our first condition, or as our first equation. The second one is we have 8 plus 150, 1.5 rather, 8 plus 1.5 quantity of d minus 4. Why we subtract it by negative 4. Why we subtracted by 4? Dahil pag mag-exceed lamang tayo sa 4 kilometers, yun lamang ay may additional na 1.5 pesos. Okay? That is our number 1. So we will create first like this para mas madali. Number 2, after creating this one, this is the time now to make a condition. So create a range or interval of x that will satisfy the condition in the first column. Okay? Now, how to make condition in the first equation? So, 8 raw yung payment natin if hindi siya lalagpas ng 4. So, meaning from the starting point to 4 kilometers, so that is our first condition. Meaning, we have this. Okay? If from starting point to 4 tayo, we will use this condition. Sir, bakit nasa gitna yung ating x? Again, we will use interval. Pwede siya range actually if 0 to 4. Okay? Pero mas specific kasi ito. Na meaning yung ating values lang na pwedeng i-substitute ay greater than x but less than 4. I mean, greater than 0 but less than 4. So meaning, nasa values lamang po between 0 to 4 ang pwedeng i-substitute upang mag-satisfy sa 8. Upang magamit natin ito sa 8. Okay, follow? Now, what is the second condition? Since it is stated that additional pag mo exceed. This is very easy. So, after 4, pag mo exceed na ako, we will use this equation. So, that's why we have this condition. If x greater than 4. Okay? And that's it for the equation or piecewise function. For problem number 4. Yan. So let's proceed now to problem number 5. For problem number 5, of course, it is different from problem number 4. So, let's say, suppose Philippine Airlines offer the prices of plane tickets from Davao to Manila as summarized below. So, given na yung ating mga prices of tickets. So, first is draw. Let's show first the given data. So, ito yung given data from Philippine Airlines. So, let's say, so again, yung mga values po ay hindi yan siya totoo. Okay? Gawa-gawa lang po yan siya. Basta may mag-book ng Philippine Airlines. At the same time, yung video tutorial na to, yes, hindi po to sponsored by Philippine Airlines. Charot. Dito guys, halimbawa lamang. Now, kung mapapansin natin, meron tayong mga conditions dito sa gilid. These are the conditions. We have 6 months or more before the flight, 5 months before the flight, 3 months before the flight, a month before the flight. Okay? So let's try to think first the concept na, di ba pag malayo pa yung, like for example, I want to travel next year, March. So, meaning at this moment of time, mas ang price sa ating ticket, mas hindi siya gaano kamahal, di ba? Since malayo pa. But habang papalapit yung flight schedule mo, mas mahal siya, di ba? Ganyan ang sa mga airlines natin. So first ating gagawin is i-input mo natin lahat ng mga values sa ating Y. So since we have here the values of Y, we have 1,250, 1,550, 1,750, 2,250. So, i-input mo natin yan siya lahat. Okay? Then, after, this is the time now to make condition based on the situation. So, ito yung ating mga conditions. Okay? Sige. Ano yung first condition sa 1,250? It is stated that 6 months or more before the flight. So in other words, 6 months or more. Meaning, from from 6 months or more. Let's say, so meaning kasali si 6 months kasi 6 months or more. So that's why, so I will use whiteboard para mas ma-illustrate siya. Yeah. So, again, for Y, we have klaro. Okay? So, we have 1,250. Now, how to make condition for 1,550? I-write ko muna lahat. Then, 1,750. The same time, 2,250. So, hopefully, again, the values is the same as in my PPT. Anyway, so elaborate more lamang. Now, how to make conditions? Okay, first natin gagawin, tingnan natin itong ating nasa months or how to input the values. Okay? So, dapat dyan tayo mag-focus in making conditions. It is stated that 6 months before or 6 months or more before the flight. So, it is stated that 6 months raw. So, let's say, since ang ato ang months is our X, diba? Since ang ato ang months, our months is in terms of the variable X, 6 months or more. So, ano yung ibig sabihin? 6 months or more. So, that's why we have greater than or equal to 6. That is in literal. We have 6 months or more. That's why any values sa ating variable X na dapat greater than siya sa 6 at the same time equal siya sa 6. Yan ang ibig sabihin. Okay? This one, we can achieve the condition number 1. Pero, para mas specific siya, pwede din natin siyang gawing, di ba? Aside from this one, pwede na tayong gagawa ng greater than lamang. Okay? So, pwede tayong gagawa ng X greater than positive infinity. Okay? So, meaning, X pag greater than siya, or meaning the positive infinity is greater than the X. So, kung ato siyang pwede na ito guys, pwede na itong X greater than or equal to 6. Maano naman siya, ma-illustrate naman natin yung condition. Pero, para ma-create tayo ng interval, okay lang din. We can use the interval in the screen. So kung ato ni siyang i-translate, kung ato ni siyang i-translate, if you try to translate this equation, the X greater than or equal to 6 and X less than to 6, X greater than or equal to 6 but X is less than positive infinity, so we can, para nasa gitna yung X variable natin, we can use or we can flip that one. Okay? So that's why based sa screen, nakalagay sa screen dyan na the final answer dito na side is, again, pwede na ito, acceptable na yan. Again, this is acceptable if you don't want to use positive infinity. If you want to use positive infinity, okay lang din. Okay, follow? So, if we try to illustrate this one in infinity, so, we will start with, we have 6 greater than 6 less than or equal to x. Bali, i-flip natin yung kanina, di ba? Kanina is x greater than or equal to 6. Kung ato siyang mas mauna yung number, so ganito na yung form niya. Tapos, less than positive infinity. Ayan. That's how to illustrate this one. Next. In the problem, it is stated that 6 months before the flight. Okay na tayo sa first condition. The second condition, 5 months before the flight. So, 5 months before the flight. Since mapapansin natin na tapos na si 6, included na siya sa ating 1,250. In other words, dito na natin siya ilagay. Hello? Dito na siya ilagay. Less than x. Now, ano yung dito na side naman? Okay. Yung dito na side is 5. Bakit 5? Kasi it is stated in the problem, 5 months before the flight. Okay? Sir, bakit hindi less than or equal to 6? Dahil mag-overlap sila. Kung 6 months ka mag-flight, asa man akong sundon? Follow? I mean, what is the cost of my ticket kung 6 months ko? Nga, wherein, equal man ko dito na side. So, belong si 5. Kasali si 6 months. So, that's why, since nandito na siya, less than yan siya. Okay? Follow? Now, how about 1,750? 3 months before the flight. Paano yun siya translate? 3 months before the flight. So, we have, since nag-end tayo ni 5, so we have 5 as our ending point, less than x. Less than or equal to what? 3. Okay? 3 months before the flight. How about a month before a flight? Okay? So we have, since may 3 na dito na side, so we have 3 x a month, meaning a month. So, singular, 1 month. Okay? So, we have 1. Okay. That's it. Okay, that's it. So, pakita ko lang kung yung nasa slides ko. Ayan. So, this is how to make a piecewise function out of the conditions. So, hopefully, nasabtan. So, again, all you need to do, kung mapapansin natin, pag na-use na natin ito, we can use this one. This one. Again, we base on the situation. Again, it is stated that 6 months before the flight, 5 months before the flight, 3 months before the flight. So, kasali siya dapat dito na sa. Okay? Sige. Hopefully, na-illustrate ko properly yung this problem. So, let's proceed now to another. Sige. This time, we have loan. So, let's say we have another less than or equal to 1 year. Yung kanina, a month before the flight. So, first, ano yung first na gagawin natin? We need to list down all the y values. So, ito yun siya. Then, the second step, i-illustrate natin siya based sa ating conditions. Okay? So, what is the condition for 3%? Less than or equal to 1 year. So, that's why we have less than or equal to 1 year. So, meaning, less than or equal to 1 year. So, kasali dito yung 0. Except sa negative infinity. Why? Why kasali sila? Dahil less than or equal to 1 year. Wala namang year nga negative. Tama? So that's why we have this one. Ayan. From 0 to 1, including si 1. Okay? Again, including si 1. Next. More than 1 year but less than or equal to 2 years. So, more than 1 year but less than or equal to 2 years. So, this is very understandable. Diba, we have 1 year na dito na side. It is stated more than 1 year. So, hindi nakasali si 1 year. So, that's why we have this. Okay? Hindi nakasali si 1 year kasi it is stated that more than 1 year but less than or equal to 2 years. So, madali lang ito actually. How about this? More than 2 years but less than or equal to 3 years. So, more than 2 years. So, 2 years to 3. Okay? Now, the last one is we have more than 3 years. Okay. So, we have more than 3 years. Same kanina. Sa katong more than 6 months. So, we have this. Okay. Sir, bakit walang less than or equal to infinity? From the word infinite, meaning any values. Basta, ano lang siya. X is less than the positive infinite. Okay? Follow? Parang, papuntang ano siya. Yeah, papuntang positive infinite. Okay. Last example. A user is charged 300 pesos monthly for a particular mobile plan, which includes 100 free text messages. Messages in excess of 100 are charged 1 peso each. Represent the amount of customer pays each month for a function of the number of messages in a month sent. Okay? So, same lang ata ni siya. Yeah, same sa katong kaganina, sa katong fair. Okay? But this time, pag mag-exceed siya sa, let's understand the problem again, 300 yung charge monthly. Okay? Pero, pag hindi siya mag-exceed sa 100 text messages. So, in other words, 300 lamang yung babayaran niya pag hindi mag-exceed sa 100. Pag mag-exceed sa 100, may additional charge na 1 peso. Okay? So, ang gagawin natin, represent this one. So, we have 300 pag hindi lalagpas sa 100. Then, this time, 300 plus, bakit natin siya isubtract sa ating 100 dahil pag mo exceed lamang ang additional na 1 peso sa 100. Okay? Pag mo exceed siya sa 100. Okay? So, easy lang ang ating piecewise function nito. So, what is our first condition? 300. If from 0 to 100. So, like this. 0 to 100. So, 0 less than x less than or equal to 100. Now, how about the second condition? So, ano yung magiging rule niya? So, we have x greater than 100. Okay? Ayan. Okay? So, I hope did you understand the piecewise function. I hope na understand it siya properly. So always remember, go back to the problem and identify the conditions. Okay? Sige.